Well, as we record this is breaking. Sinead O'Connor, Irish singer, saying "Nothing Compares to You," has just died at the age of 56. No cause of death was given. The family said in a statement, it is with great sadness that we announce the passing of our beloved Sinead. Her family and friends are devastated and have requested privacy at this very difficult time.
No cause given, but she was always kind of on the brink of suicide, did it seem like?
Yeah, I think so.
So is no cause given code for that? And if someone is perpetually depressed, don't you? And it turns out they died in an avalanche. You need to say avalanche, because if you're depressed all the time and there's no cause given,
assume that. Yeah,
we do the math. Now the code. I think the code, because I went and looked up a girl I used to date once, and I think she committed suicide, probably mostly because of me. But I just, they didn't say how she died. They just said she's no longer in pain. Like she's, that I sort of took that as code for killed themselves. No, committed suicide.
Right.
Anyway, weird,
and
sad, tortured.
In January of last year, her son Shane committed suicide at the age of 17.
So all the people I wish would commit suicide never commit suicide, and then the ones I like commit suicide.
Yeah,
I wish it worked out.
Yeah,
and I wish bad people committed suicide, not depressed people. Wouldn't it be awesome?
Yeah, I mean, you always say, especially like all the mass shooters out there, just do it.
I was talking about some of the cast members of The View, but I get where you're at.
That's right.
I know where you're at.
Yeah. You get it both ways. Well, all right. So also, as we record this, there's a new video of Mitch McConnell that just came out. So he's doing a press conference, and he kind of freezes up. We have the video here, and we'll show it to you.
Cooperation and a string of
Stops talking, he's staring.
If he's a jukebox, you got to kick it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office?
Yeah.
Do you want to say
Senator
anything
John
else to the press?
Wyoming. And now they're kind of escorting him off away from the podium there.
So he's having more than a senior moment there.
Yeah, so there's raising concerns
How old
about
is
his health.
he?
He is 81. So there's raising concerns about his health after suffering a concussion earlier this year. But, I mean, are these people just too old to be...
I mean, I
know you talk about ageism a lot and how we should appreciate people being wise, but then comes Mitch McConnell, Feinstein. Like, where do we draw the line here?
Where we draw the line is the Tom Brady rule.
Okay.
There should not be a rule that you can't play in the NFL after the age of 35 and a half.
Agreed.
But most don't. And once you turn 40, you're in rarefied air with maybe George Blanda, guys like that. Like you literally, there's nobody.
Right.
I would reckon off the top of my head that players in the NFL over the age of 30, 35, probably 7%. Over the age of 37, 5%. And over the age of 40, 0%. Like that's how fast it happens, right? That's what the drop-off is. I don't really like making a steadfast rule number for age in politics or any job because
it's different for everybody.
Yeah, like if
William Shatner sits here at age 93.
Yes,
yeah,
much more lucid. So you get in this fucking game where you go, Joe Biden is too old. No, Joe Biden has early onset dementia. Or maybe it's not early onset. It's just dementia. My buddy Philip the Juggler died of early onset dementia when he was 52.
Right.
But you wouldn't go, 52, he's not old enough to juggle or he's too old to juggle. No, he had a horrible disease and it shows up at different times for different people. I hate Joe Biden. And I also hate Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is older than Joe Biden and sharp as a fucking tack.
Yeah.
Now, he hates America and nothing he says makes sense. And let's pray that old fuck never gets elected to anything because we'll all be destroyed. But he can rat-a-tat-tat out as fast. He can go on Bill Maher's show and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So is it about age? No, it's not about age. It's about ability. And if Joe Biden was losing it at 63, I'd say he has to go. Or if he was Bernie Sanders, he wouldn't. So you go, well, Trump's old. Yeah, but Trump doesn't slow down. Trump doesn't search for words. So it's a cognitive thing. And I would argue that if there was ever a job where people should be tested, it's the president of the United States, it's the senators, it's anyone, Speaker of the House. Like if you're operating at a high level and you're in charge of policy, just like an airplane pilot, you should be tested once a year.
Yeah.
Now, Joe Biden won't be tested, but then the answer is, why won't Joe Biden be tested? And then why wouldn't he just put all these rumors to bed by being tested? Because we know how that would end.
Yeah, like Drew has to take some board or certification tests every few years to stay a doctor.
Right. So I'm not really picking a random number because the random number would exclude people that were perfectly sharp past that date.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want William Shatner in 2010 to say, William Shatner, you're not up to acting anymore.
Sorry.
You
Too
can't.
old.
You cannot be
No
the
way you can memorize
spokesperson
his
for this
lines.
travel company. You're just gonna have to go home and rot because that wouldn't be fair to William Shatner. But it might be fair to others who weren't up to it. So just have a cognitive test, have them pass it or not.
Yeah.
And then we'll move forward from there.
need some congressman combine.
Yes, because everyone is way too fucking old and way too. I mean, we have Dianne Feinstein. People have never even seen her. Was it Dianne Feinstein?
Yeah, she's almost like a puppet now, right? Just they'll wheel her out every once in a while. They'll say, "Oh, she says she wants to enact on this law. She proves this bill."
She's a high-ranking California politician, and she's let's see. Not ambulatory, as I'd say. She cannot move around like on her own. I mean, get rid of these fucking people. What? I have no idea what's going on in California. And then Gavin Newsom is fucked because he's like, we're going to replace her with a woman of color, which always turns out spectacularly for the constituency. It's always great when you get a woman of color in there because they could do no wrong, and they're the smartest people in the world.
You're a straight white guy. This is not looking
policy.
good for you.
It's so awesome. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's head over to Florida. So there's some new reports of Florida water temperatures hitting 100 degrees.
I could not believe this story.
Yeah, so Bowie in Florida registered a jaw-dropping 101.1 degrees Fahrenheit water temperature on the heels of the same Bowie in Manatee Bay registering 100.2 degrees. Now, we don't know the records because they haven't really been keeping records of this, if this is but I mean, they do assume this is the highest. And yeah, a hot tub is 100 to 102 degrees, so you're stepping in the jacuzzi.
I know, and we're all worried about global warming because it's so hot, and that's how we are because we're superstitious gypsies. And when you hear like, oh, this is the hottest whatever on record, go back and look at a bunch of data. You'll see it's mostly just whatever. Look, here's what I'm saying about the global warming people. These are the people who brought you COVID and who brought you Hunter Biden's laptop. So when they say something, just think about it a little bit.
Yeah, not
just
a good track record
I
now.
wonder how accurate this statement is. That's all. Just think about the exact same people were tuning you up on COVID for 2 years and tuning you up on Russian collusion and Trump for 2 years.
All right.
Now, when they speak, just think about it. That's all I'm saying. That doesn't mean they're wrong, but these are the exact same people. So just give it some thought when they have thoughts about
their credit score.
What's going on now. And you can look into it, and it's not what we think it is. But I will say this. Somebody tweeted me, do we have more of the Leonard Nimoy thing? I think it's like 45 seconds or something like that. Remember, when I was 14, When I was 14 years old, I would turn on my TV set, and we didn't discuss 100-degree water in Florida or ice caps melting or the 14th straight day of over 115 degrees in Phoenix.
Yeah,
we didn't have this
warming.
discussion. No. When I was 14 in 1978, we had this discussion.
I think we have to think about moving someplace else.
Move where? The brutal buffalo winter might become common all over the United States. Climate experts believe the next ice age is on its way.
Climate experts.
According to recent evidence, it could come sooner than anyone had expected. At weather stations in the far north, temperatures have been dropping for 30 years. Seacoasts long free of summer ice are now blocked year-round. According to some climatologists, within a lifetime, we might be living in the next ice age.
Uh-oh.
Seems like the opposite of
so which is it?
Global warming. It's whatever they need it to be whenever they need it. That's what it was. And by the way, this is 1978. We put a man on the moon. We have the microwave oven. These aren't superstitious natives. These are climatologists and global climate experts. These are experts in this.
With a bunch of B-roll from Antarctica.
Okay.
Well, did you notice? Because like every time I see all this global warming stuff, I think to myself, and I don't know if it's just me or not, but it's getting a lot hotter. I feel like it is getting hotter. But back then, did you think it was getting colder? Did it influence your?
I grew up in the motherfucking San Fernando Valley in a shit box with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
And I would just lay there on my uninsulated porch on a cot mattress, just sweating through it, just waiting to die. And I was like, Leonard Nimoy, wherever this cold front is, bring it the fuck on, because I am languishing in this sweat box. And then I would go out and do Pop Warner football, and then I would go do two-a-days in high school, and then next thing I know, I was working construction up on a roof, working in Chatsworth. I was like, wherever this fucking ice age is, please go find some of it and pipe it the fuck into my life.
Yeah.
Because I was sweltering the entire time. Yes. Now, the problem is we are superstitious natives. We're starting to get into chick think globally. And chick think globally, it's like whenever you talk to Dr. Drew, and, Dr. Drew's talking to one of his lady friends about why you have to go into the sauna so you can sweat out the toxins. Sweat the toxins on. It's like your sweat glands don't sweat out toxins. It doesn't work that way. And what are toxins? Good luck talking a chick out of the concept of sweating out toxins when they're sitting in a sauna. They think it, they know it, they live it, they love it. Now, it doesn't matter if you're talking to a physician who's explaining to you that doesn't exist and it's not possible. They're done with that conversation. So when you deal with chick think, and this will work for most chicks and then a lot of dudes, sadly, especially in places like LA, and it's hot more than 4 days in a row, they go, aha, something's afoot. Global warming. They can't wrap their mind around the concept of it just being hot and it having nothing to do with anything, because they're non-religious people, but they're super suspicious. They're superstitious gypsy people is basically what it is. None of them are religious, but they all focus on the religion of global warming, and then they have to ascribe it to everything all the time. So they got to go, aha, aha, aha. So this is what happens. Now, what they don't understand is everything's cyclical. I heard some study that like the hottest days in this country were in the 1930s, like 1930 in terms of measured record set hottest year, like 1930, in which case I felt horrible for all those people because air conditioning wasn't invented yet. But no, all the shit you're hearing now is mostly bullshit. But it's no different than Leonard Nimoy talking about the Ice Age in 1978. We were in. My mom was into this shit because she'd be a person who would buy into the bullshit because she had the crazy gypsy chick thing.
Right.
So understand that this is just understand this. It's what's being peddled to you. Now, it's being peddled for control. They want to set the mileage of your car and how much gas you can use, and all, they want to set it all. Look no further than COVID. All about control. We're going to scare you, then we're going to control you. They need the useful idiots around them to help them. And I'm not saying global warming doesn't exist. We cannot control it from our very relatively small country. We have to get India and China and Africa on board. They're developing nations. They're not going to get on board. So whatever we do, we're not going to control it. So we need to get everyone under control. But I do think technology finds a way to solve these problems, like Bjorn Lomborg and guys like that. That's what they say. If you stood in 1978 with Leonard Nimoy in a parking structure behind a 1972 Oldsmobile and that thing was running, your eyes would be watering and you'd be coughing because what was coming out of the exhaust pipe was just pure poison. Yeah. Now, fire up the Honda, stand in the parking lot, fire up 5 Hondas, stand in the underground parking structure, have a conversation, eat a sandwich.
Have a cigar.
Okay, that was solved by technology.
Yeah.
We're going to find that that's the way it's going to work with this as well. All right, keep going.
All right, so let's see here. The Aaron Hernandez's brother.
I like the cut of this kid's jib.
He's out of control.
Isn't he the one who threw a rock at ESPN?
Yeah.
I like this kid.
Well, he's now been arrested again. This time, cops are saying there's concern he's planning school shootings at UConn and Brown University.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh.
So these allegations are spelled out in the new Bristol Police Department documents obtained by TMZ Sports, where cops say DJ showed signs of this month being, quote, gravely disabled and a danger to society.
You got to wonder about the Hernandez brothers.
What is
like, it's just
going
a
on?
mutant gene, or is it just a horrible upbringing, or...
And can it be studied and prevented?
And where's mom and dad in this equation?
That might be what happens with the study.
All right.